Those of you who've heard me talk about my political philosophy, my ideology, I have a lot of libertarian in me. Libertarianism has one universal principle that anyone who subscribes to any type of its ideology understands what its founding principle is. No taxation without representation. That's libertarianism in a nutshell. We live in a country where there is no representation for our taxation. We have no say at all in what we get. And so what I find interesting is that libertarianism has been denigrated to such an extent that people have different ideas about what it really means. And in the end, everything comes back to Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand was a guest on Phil Donahue's talk show back in 1979, shortly after the Ayatollah took over in Iran. Now, you'd be asking yourself, what does Ayn Rand have to do with any of this? Ayn Rand's philosophy, which is supposed to be the libertarian philosophy, led by the likes of Thomas Massie, is that no taxation without representation, especially when it comes to foreign policy. Now, listen carefully to what Ayn Rand says here during this interview.
Is against.
I'd like to know your opinion on the United States' foreign policy and what is happening in the Middle East right now.
Right now, I'm not sure we know what's happening. I think the United States foreign policy has been disgraceful for years, for decades. I would say roughly since the New Deal, and in part even before that. But if you mean whose side should one be on, Israel or the Arabs, I would certainly say Israel.
Of course. Ayn Rand is Jewish, by the way. Now, on the one hand, she's right. And this is 1979. So you're talking about the Cold War, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Korea, now Iran. And this is going back to those years. So on the first time, on the one hand, she is correct. U.S. foreign policy is a disaster. But then the true colors are shown. Israel or the Arabs? Of course I pick Israel. This is after 1967. This is after 1973. This is after the USS Liberty. This is before the first Intifada. But we all know where this was going. And if you subscribe to any form of libertarianism, you know that if there is an antithesis of the libertarian ideology, it's Israel and everything it stands for. And this is supposed to be the golden child of libertarianism. Ironic, isn't it? Israel exposes all. I will not bring myself to watch that movie, but I am forever grateful for that person who confronted Helen Mirren and called her the Zionist scum that she is. Bravo.
Because it's the advanced, technological, civilized country amidst a group of almost totally primitive savages.
Okay, so there you go. Zionist Judaism in its fullest form. We talk about Israel and their advancements in technology and investment and things we do there. And these other people are savages, animals, dirty, primitive. We can do away with them, you know. Anyone here? You see, the real godfather of libertarianism is Ron Paul, not Rand Paul. Rand Paul sold out a long time ago. You've got Ron Paul, you have Thomas Massey. Those are the standard bearers. Everything that she wrote in Atlas Shrugged, throw it all away. All of it. Doesn't mean anything anymore. She gave away, in a matter of seconds, she gave away the entire game. You all wasted your fucking time believing that this was real. This is who she really is, and this is what they really believe. No questions asked.
Who have not changed for years and who are racist and who resent Israel because it's bringing industry and intelligence, modern technology, into their stagnation.
Your philosophy of objectivism.
That's right.
I just have one point that I think should be made, Ms. Rand, with time fleeting here. Your characterization of the situation in the Middle East came down rather gratuitously and in a very angry way on the Arabs, and without discussing the merits of either side in a most complicated and painful collision of cultures and peoples in our world. Why couldn't the millions of men, women, and children who are Arab and who find themselves in this desperate conflict and look around wondering where peace will be, why can't they be angry with you for your characterization of them, your slap at them, your roundhouse criticism of them, when you don't seem to be able to tolerate a questioner who suggests that she disagrees with you?
Now, maybe it's because I'm Irish, but my God, if there was one talk show host, particularly in the 1980s, that really stood above the rest, it was Phil Donahue. He really was great. And he was even greater when he got his show on MSDNC. When he spoke out against the war in Iraq, you know what they did? They fired him. This was more than a voice of reason. And let me tell you something, guys. I'm not a sappy individual, but the love story between him and his wife is definitely one of the more charming stories you'll ever see. Marlo Thomas and Phil Donahue had a real love story to celebrate. Phil was always somebody who struck me as a caring person, not an opportunist, as many other talk show hosts over the decades have proven. The biggest opportunist, of course, being Zionist extraordinaire Jerry Springer. Talk about denigrating society. But Phil really was a great guy. And if you haven't seen Phil Hartman's impression of Phil Donahue on SNL in the mid-'80s, go check that out.
Characterization is you do not accept any criticism unless you level it.
No, I don't resort to terrorism. I don't go around murdering my opponents, innocent women and children.
You know, when they say all Israelis and the entire Zionist ideology, all they do is lie, this is a prime example of just that. You don't go around murdering innocent women and children, Ayn Rand? Yes, you do. But remember, in her mind, Arabs, they're goy. They're subhuman. They don't count. All right, so we killed 1,000 subhumans. Not a big deal. We killed 100,000 subhumans. We killed millions of subhumans. And you're right, Krista. He wouldn't be allowed on TV today. No chance. Listen to her one more time.
I don't resort to terrorism. I don't go around murdering my opponents, innocent women and children. That is what I have against the Arabs. That takes the conflict out of the sphere of civilized conflict and makes it murderous. And anyone, private citizens, who resort to force is a monster. And that's what makes me
Ms. Rand,
condemn and despise them.
It's always the Ashkenazis, Eastern European Russian. It's always the same thing. It's the same story. And for every libertarian who bows at the altar of this animal, of a dead human, whose memory, it's so ironic. There were so many things that she talked about that had almost nothing to do with what libertarianism was all about. What she preached, which I know this is something if Steve Grumbine sees this, he'll appreciate. Ayn Rand preached austerity politics. She preached no one is entitled to anything, not even life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Does anybody doubt that she is a miserable old crone? Not just because of the way she conducted herself here, but that this is how she probably always was. An old crab ass who figured out how to write a book and make money off of it, and then all of a sudden became an economic philosopher. And let's be honest. There is a lot that she preached that ultimately Carter and especially Reagan picked up and used. She had a lot to do with it. You can't blame it on one person, but she definitely bears that level of responsibility. And for somebody who wanted to abolish Social Security, this is a person who gleefully took it. But what else is new? Say one thing, do something completely different, because that's the nature of politics. How do you know when a politician, and in this case, a Zionist, is lying? Their lips are moving, and her lips moved quite a bit, and she lied through her teeth till the very end. I want to end this show with a dose of hope. Thank you, Winnie. And I love your profile picture. Remember, anybody who's got a profile picture, anybody who wants to throw me nice compliments and at the same time has a dog or animal of any kind in their profile picture, sell it, speak it. I want to put it up there. And with that being said, let's remember that there is still good in this world, that there is still hope. And I don't want anybody walking away thinking that a positive outcome to all of the pain and suffering we've been put through emotionally, psychologically, physically, that there isn't hope or light at the end of the tunnel, because there is. What an amazing shot. Let's give a big shout out to Mohammed from Morocco, Krista from Lebanon, and Mustafa from Egypt. Told TR World they wanted to show that solidarity can take many forms. That is really cool. Even with a giant shark swimming right by them as they do it.